It's obviously, I mean, it's well known that you played on, I don't know the exact number, but 2,000 records plus, I guess. So my question is, how did you set yourself up for that success? That allowed you to keep getting hired, record after record. What was your approach walking into the studio?
Well, from the first time I ever recorded anything, you you realize what a privilege it is to be in there, having in a studio, having your sound reproduced at the kind of the highest quality, and for me, it's just that every time that red light goes on, you got to leave something that's memorable, that's really great, and so that's kind of was my mission, is just to try to go in there and do what others before me have done in such great fashion, and so um, it it was a very high bar that people like James Jamerson
Right.
set, you know, and so for me, I thought, well, if I'm in this environment of where they're going to actually record and what I play is going to be around forever,
Mm.
it might as well be as good as it can be. So that's kind of my mentality and work ethic when I go in. Is just, okay, this has to be great, and there's a lot of people that know how to do this better, and there's a lot of people that are wanting to do it and willing to do it. So um,
Exactly.
you only get that chance, and so go in there and crush it as if you can.
But what does great mean to you then? Because I assume that not every bass part will be memorable, as in, oh, look what that cool thing he did. Sometimes you gotta, also being a bass player, you have to lay back. So what does that
Yeah,
thing mean to you?
yeah. Well, greatness means to me, it's whether it's one note. And I try to get this message across to my students. I have this online bass school over at
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
ArtistWorks, and I try to emphasize that, like, it's the one note that people um, that you have to penetrate people's hearts with. Like when Eric Clapton plays, you can tell that one note, that's Eric Clapton. BB King would hit that one vibrato, and you could tell right off the bat that was BB King. So that wasn't a flurry of notes. That was one note, and and it gets to you. And that's what music for me is all about. Is like, getting through people's skin,
Hmm.
and opening up their hearts. So whether it's like a memorable bass line or just laying that one note down with the drummer, I try to um, I try to keep it, keep the integrity of whether it's one or 50 notes.
Right,
Try
right,
to
right.
keep it all high,
Makes sense.
and that's where I feel like the bass has been one of those instruments. Because like in the clubs, see the bass solo, and then everybody, would leave and go get a beer, and, because then it's kind of like we're not used to soloing. So when we do solo, it's kind of like fiddling around and trying to figure out what's going on, and so a lot of times, it's kind of like, oh wait, out of 1,000 notes, I can use 100 of them, and the rest of them are kind of, they're okay, but it's just kind of like filler,
Mm.
So as bass players, I always felt we have a responsibility to kind of keep the keep the standards high, keep the game up, So when you do play, it's something, because otherwise, that kind of image of bass plays the roots and fifths. See you later,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, and all these things there's time, tone,
Hmm.
taste, touch, technique, the five T's, and so all of those, to this day, every time I sit down to play, whether it's live or I'm constantly saying, is this worth me being here?
Right.